All right, welcome. For today's explainer, we're going to put on our automotive historian hats and really dig into the story of one of the most iconic brands on the planet, Mercedes-Benz. And let me tell you, it's a story that is just as much about breathtaking engineering genius as it is about some very, very deep historical complexities. So, let's start with a question. Now, this might sound like the start of a very strange joke, but the answer really traces the dramatic and often contradictory history of a company now worth nearly $80 billion. You see, this is not just the story of a car. It's really a story about the last 140 years of modern history itself. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with a simple dream inside one engineer's mind. Then we'll look at the journey that proved it could work, explore the rivalries that forged an empire, confront a very dark alliance, and finally, see how the brand picked itself up and became the symbol of luxury we know today.
Okay, so our story begins, like so many do, with just one person. Let's meet Karl Benz. He was born into poverty back in Germany, 1844, and he had a vision that would, quite literally, change the world forever.
You know, the entire foundation of this story really rests on the sacrifice of Ben's mother. She pushed for him to get an education, and it was at university that a professor taught him something that must have just lit a fire in his mind. The future was not in those giant, clunky steam engines of the day. No, it was in something smaller, more efficient, more personal. Now, what's so fascinating here is you can see Benz's systematic genius at work. He wasn't just, slapping an engine onto a cart. He was inventing, piece by piece, all the essential components that are still at the heart of the cars we drive today. But when his motor wagon finally made its debut, the public was either terrified or just thought it was ridiculous. They saw a noisy, dangerous contraption, not the future. Okay, so Karl may have invented the car, but it was his wife, Bertha Benz, who showed the entire world what it could actually do. And honestly, she's a critical figure in this story who, for a long time, was completely overlooked. And this just brilliantly shows how Bertha was both an incredible engineer and a marketing genius. Without even telling her husband, she just took the car and went on a 66-mile trip. And along the way, she didn't just drive, she solved problems. She needed fuel, so she bought some from a pharmacy. In doing so, she basically invented the world's first gas station. She made roadside repairs with a hat pin and a garter. This one trip created this huge publicity storm and proved to everyone that the automobile wasn't some toy. It was a revolution. All right, so the concept is now proven. And this kicks off a whole new phase, defined by absolutely fierce competition. This pressure is what would ultimately force the brand to evolve into what it would become. So the key dynamic of this whole era was this clash between two very different men. On one side, you have Karl Benz, the super careful engineer who's obsessed with reliability, a guy who actually hated the idea of car racing. And on the other side, you've got Gottlieb Daimler, a hardcore competitive businessman who immediately saw racing as the ultimate marketing tool. Daimler's company built this beast, the Mercedes 35 HP, that just dominated races and totally captured the public's imagination, which basically forced Benz to get into the world of motorsport even though he didn't want to. But here's the thing. This legendary merger wasn't some big celebration of a shared vision. Not at all. It was an act of pure survival. The absolutely devastating economic crisis in Germany after World War I pushed these two bitter rivals together. And in 1926, they officially merged to form Daimler-Benz, creating the brand we now know as Mercedes-Benz. And just 3 years after that merger, Karl Benz passed away. Think about it. He started as a poor engineer with an idea that everyone laughed at, and he lived long enough to see his horseless carriage become the foundation of a brand new global industry. His personal story ends right here, but the company with his name was about to enter its most challenging and its most morally complicated chapter. We now have to turn our historical lens to the most difficult part of this story. This is a period where the company's incredible innovation got tangled up with a regime that committed unimaginable atrocities. The year is 1933. Adolf Hitler's rise to power marks a pivotal and a very dark turning point, not just for Germany, but for the Daimler-Benz Corporation, which would soon become a powerful tool for the new regime. You see, the Nazi Party saw Daimler-Benz as this perfect propaganda tool. They poured huge amounts of money into the company's racing program to showcase German superiority. The famous Mercedes-Benz 770 became the car of choice for Hitler and his top officials, And when war broke out, the company's entire production capacity was redirected to build the engines of the Nazi war machine. And this is where the story becomes truly horrifying. This data shows that by 1944, nearly half of the company's 63,000 employees were not willing workers. They were prisoners of war, civilians who had been abducted, and detainees from concentration camps. They were forced to work in inhumane, prison-like conditions to fuel a war of aggression. This is an undeniable, shameful part of the company's history. After the war, the company was in literal ruins. I mean, its factories were bombed out, its assets abroad were seized, its reputation was absolutely shattered. The challenge they faced was immense. How do you even begin to start over from zero? Well, the comeback was slow, and it was methodical. As you can see here, they didn't start with luxury cars. They started with essential things like ambulances and vans, just to get back on their feet. Passenger car production started up again, but slowly. I mean, barely 1,000 cars made in 1947. And yet, in a truly remarkable turnaround, by 1954, less than a decade after its factories were just piles of rubble, the company was profitable again. It's a real testament to the post-war economic recovery and the simple, enduring global demand for quality German engineering. So the crucial point here is this very conscious, very deliberate rebranding. The company's management was denazified, and they completely shifted the narrative. They moved it away from wartime collaboration to focus all the attention on post-war icons, like the 300 SL Gullwing, a car that became a symbol of German engineering's rebirth, not its dark past. And over decades, they meticulously rebuilt their image, making that three-pointed star a sign of luxury and looking to the future. And that brings our lecture to a close, leaving us with this fundamental question. The story of Mercedes-Benz is one of pioneering genius, yes, but also profound moral compromise. It forces us to ask how we should view a legacy that contains both the absolute best of human ingenuity and a direct complicity in the absolute worst of human history. That is the complex reality we have to grapple with. Missed.